I was raised in churches, and I honestly don't remember a time where I didn't know that God exists. I went to a Catholic elementary school with Mass every Friday, and on the weekends, I went to a Protestant Sunday school. I was really good at school, at least in elementary. I'm good when there's a right or wrong answer, and I know what to do and I know how to answer. So, what's a verb? What's 5 times 5? Is there a God? Is he real? Does he love you? Yes, 100, A plus, check, good job. I got involved in my youth group as I got older, and I started knowing less and less what the right response was. So I would look to what other people are doing, and okay, you close your eyes during worship and you pray in this way and you sing. And I would try to read my Bible, which sometimes looked just like this thing where you kind of flip and then boom, and then that's the answer to whatever you're going through, as if God is a magic 8-ball. And I don't want to downplay my faith as a kid, because I think I genuinely desired to know God, but I had so many misunderstandings and I just always wanted to get things right that it often paralyzed me. But another thing that has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember is depression and mental illness. I remember being a very young kid and recognizing that I did not react to things the same way that other people did. And that was the 80s, the 90s came along. People slowly started talking about depression, but it was still very taboo. I remember this one commercial with this little bouncing ball person, and he was sad at first, and then he took an antidepressant, he was happy, and he was bouncing along. And I'm pretty sure my friends and I mocked it, but inside there was this growing fear, because the sad ball at the beginning is what I related to. And when they described symptoms, I thought, yo, those are the right answers. That's what I'm feeling. But I still didn't know what to do with it. I wrote suicide notes. I didn't know what to do with those, so I shoved them in my nightstand thinking maybe it would just be cathartic to get it all out. And then I remember senior year of high school, psychology class, we were talking about depression. And these 2 boys, I knew they were Christians. They announced to the whole class, well, it's impossible to be a Christian and to be depressed. Spoiler alert, that's not true. But I didn't know that at the time. And 17-year-old me is sitting there thinking, wait, what am I? Because I'm doing all the things. I thought that I was following God, but then over here, these are all the things that I feel too. So how does this work? Am I one some days and then one another days? Or am I just depression and I've never been Christian? Or, has it, like, what does that look like? And I didn't have the answers, and there was a lot going on inside of me. And so I graduated and ended up running from God for 7 years. I started drinking at some point, which was not a great idea. I quickly discovered I was an alcoholic, and that alcohol made my depression 1,000 times worse. I had another suicide attempt in there. It was a very dark time in my life. And throughout it, it was like I would keep a little bit of church around, or a little bit of religion, or a little bit of faith. I didn't really read my Bible anymore. I didn't pray anymore very much because I felt guilty and judged and condemned. But it was like I had convinced myself, well, God knows my heart, so he's fine with it. So even though I'm going out and I'm getting drunk and I'm sleeping around and I'm doing these things, he's totally fine with that. He's okay and he understands. So I went on this way for a while and ended up dating a guy who lives in another state. I had gone on this trip with him, and we went back to his place, and he asked me, hey, do you want to go to church with me the next day? And my first response was, well, I don't have anything to wear. And so he said, it doesn't matter what you wear, just come dressed in whatever. So I did. I went, and the very first worship song comes on, and I close my eyes, and I see a vision of a road, 2 roads going this way. And God speaks to me and he says, Rebecca, you think that we're walking together, but you're going this way and I'm going this way. And immediately in my heart, I was like, I'm done with this path. I'm going your way. Whatever it takes, I'm on your road now, Lord. I don't remember anything else about the sermon. I know the series was about money, but I don't remember any of it. I don't remember any of the other worship songs. I do remember getting in his car after church, and he turns to me and he says, what happened to you? And I said, what do you mean? And he says, you look different. I said, I am different. So I went back home to my town. I found a church. I got plugged in, small group, started serving, got baptized. But even more than that, I wanted to know God so desperately. I went out and I bought a new Bible. I read it from cover to cover. I went and got another Bible in a different translation, and I read it cover to cover. I was desperate to know him. And at this point, it was less about finding the right answers and knowing the right things to say about God, and more about just desiring to know him, the one who sought me out and spoke to me and gave me this vision. And so as I was going back through the Bibles again, I came across this passage that I don't know how many times I've probably heard it in my life up to this point. But it's the story of Hagar in Genesis 16. And Hagar was Sarah's servant. It's a pretty messed up story, actually. But Hagar was being a very awful person, and Sarah was awful back to her, and Hagar runs away. But even then, even amidst all that, God seeks her out. He sends this angel of the Lord. And the angel said to her, Hagar, Sarah's servant, where have you come from and where are you going? He wasn't asking that because he didn't know. Hagar didn't want to admit it. And I feel like that was me. Like God was saying, where have you come from and where are you going? He already knew. He wanted me to acknowledge it. And later on in the passage, thereafter, Hagar used another name to refer to the Lord who had spoken to her. She said, you are the God who sees me. She also said, have I truly seen the one who sees me? And that's what God was to me in that moment. And that's what he's been to me for 17 years. He's been the God who sees me. He's been the God who sought me out, who orchestrated this path to get me to this place where I could listen to him. So that's the story about how I came to faith. My full testimony is still ongoing. It's been 17 years that I've been walking daily with him, reading scripture, praying, desiring to know him, worshiping him. And every day just gets better. It hasn't always been easy. There's been a lot of very, very dark times, and I intend to share a lot of that with you. But that's my story. And I love hearing people's stories of how they came to faith. So if you have a story like that, I would love to hear it. Maybe drop it in the comments or send me via email if you don't want to talk about it publicly, because I just want to know. And if you don't have a story like that, I would encourage you to, even today, maybe ask God, hey, God, are you the one who sees me? Let me see you. I guarantee you he's already there. He already sees and knows and loves you, but give him the opportunity to open your eyes to see him as well.